Hello and welcome to our monthly career success story webinar hosted by Community Career Promoter. This webinar is where we showcase a high-performing professional by giving them the opportunity to share their career advancement strategies, tips, and tools of the trade, the highs and even some of the lows of their professional experiences, so that we can all learn from their career journey. If you're tuning in live and haven't already done so, let us know your full name and where you're tuning in from in the chat box so that we can greet you. These webinars take place on the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to mark your calendars for upcoming webinars on the dates that you see on your screen. September 16th, October 14th, November 18th, November 11th, and December 16th. Now let's take a moment to greet some of our guests from the chat. We'd like to welcome you, Rayan from New York, as well as Sebaote from Virginia. We're so glad to have you here live. Tiffany, it's always a pleasure to see you. And we so appreciate our guests, both our regulars and our newbies, who make up the Community Career Promoter family. Now, this monthly career webinar features a career success story by an invited guest from our professional community. Career success stories are a source of inspiration for the professional advancement of attendees like you. This webinar is intended for those seeking career advancement, including entry-level professionals, mid-level professionals, current job seekers, retirees re-entering the job market, students preparing for their real-world professional careers, and more. So stay tuned for today's special presentation from Gabe Hamda, who will share 2 proven strategies for enhancing your employability to advance your career. But first, we'd like to formally introduce the host organization for this webinar, Community Career Promoter. Community Career Promoter inspires career advancement seekers to achieve their highest human potential. We connect career advancement seekers with local career resources, and we serve all people who seek career advancement. For more information, go ahead and visit us online at www.communitycareerpromoter.org or via social media at the handle @CareerNow on YouTube for the recording of this webinar when it becomes available. And for those of you watching live, check the chat now for links to these incredible resources. Next, we at Career Promoter want to share a valuable resource with you, and it might be right under your nose, right in your community, waiting for you to take advantage of career advancement opportunities. It's the American Job Center. So if someone you or someone you know is seeking career opportunities, whether they're a family member, a neighbor, a friend, or colleague, go ahead and send them to your nearest American Job Center. There are thousands of American Job Centers across the nation with a host of resources, opportunities, and connections for the communities they serve, and all supported by, your tax dollars. And not only are local career centers open and serving the community during the pandemic, they are open online 24/7, no matter where you are in the world. So to find your nearest American Job Center, visit the virtual job center at www.careeronestop.org, which you now see on your screen. At the virtual job center, you can explore careers, find trainings, search for jobs, find local career help, and more. So again, visit www.careeronestop.org for all these valuable resources. And again, for you who are watching live, our valued guests, we invite you to check the chat now for links to the American Job Center online and all of these amazing resources. Now, these enriching monthly Career Promoter webinars wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. And so now we'll take just a moment to share a few details about our sponsor organizations. And as we share, feel free to take a screenshot of the companies and organizations that you would like to connect with. So for our first co-sponsor, we have Benjamin Preston LLC, founded by the author of the book, Harness Your Butterflies, Mr. Benjamin Preston. Benjamin Preston LLC provides businesses with marketing, strategy, and management consulting services. With experience in a range of industries and clients ranging from startups to billion-dollar businesses, Benjamin Preston's strategic approach to business will help your business scale quickly and efficiently. Services include professional development, career coaching, business consulting, and operational and marketing support. So visit benjaminpreston.com for more information, and feel free to email him at benjamin@benjaminpreston.com. Our next co-sponsor is Azeb Telele Promo Club LLC, an international business promoter providing promotional services for B2B global networking, top-level music promotion, and nonprofit promotion. For more information or to partner, feel free to visit www.azebtelelepromoclub.com. Our next co-sponsor is ICATT Professional Services, an organization that's committed to making your people and data greater. ICATT Consulting is your partner for professional development, talent source, data analytics, and societal impact. But did you know that ICATT Professional Services is a social enterprise with a purpose of creating jobs in our community by enhancing employability and strengthening job creators? Yes, ICATT is your partner for professional development, talent sourcing, data analytics, and societal impact with services that include Career Academy, outsourcing staffing and recruitment, applied data analytics, and social enterprise. So to learn more about ICATT, visit www.icatt.net. Our next co-sponsor is Impact Management and IT Solutions. This organization provides simplified solutions, management services from start to completion, and information technology services from basic to complex based on the customer's needs. So for more information or to take advantage of these services, feel free to visit www.impactmits.com. Our final co-sponsor is my company, The Professionista LLC. The Professionista LLC brings your brand to life with creative storytelling and communication strategies that connect with your audience. From virtual events to in-person experiences, I, the company's founder, I speak life into your content and your strategy in a way that is compelling, enriching, and memorable. The Professionista LLC provides brand storytelling, communication strategy, empowerment keynotes, and voice-over artistry, because what's a communication strategy without a voice to deliver it? So if your organization needs the right voice, a powerful voice, to carry your message to the market in a way that is memorable and compelling, text your organization's name now with the word voice to 678-694-7763 today. And finally, we have Addis Solutions. Addis Solutions provides digital marketing services, including website development, print and online promotional materials, online marketing, and advertising. So for more information, visit www.addissolutions.com. For those of you joining us live, you have several webinar tools that you can use to enhance your experience. We invite you to engage in the chat and share any questions, comments, suggestions, and more that you may have. If time permits and we're able to open the floor for Q&A, you may raise your hand virtually to ask your question and use the unmute feature to ask your question live when you are called upon. We do ask that all video remains off throughout the webinar and audio remain on mute unless you are called on to speak. Keeping video and audio off helps to keep the focus on the presentation at hand. So we thank you in advance for honoring these standards. Now, if you joined by dialing in from a phone, we encourage you to update your Zoom settings to display your name and city instead of your phone number so that we can acknowledge you. And we'll take this time to acknowledge a few more of our live guests because we always like to check in in the chat with those who are joining us live. So welcome, Beer to Wheat from Virginia. It is a pleasure to have you here. And we invite you to enjoy the webinar as we proceed. So if you're joining from the Zoom mobile app or desktop site, again, the place to make your presence known is in our chat. So let us know what you think of the webinar in the chat area, and don't hold back or be shy. We welcome your questions, your comments, agreements, disagreements, your knowledge, your excitement. We want to hear it all. So we look forward to connecting with you in the chat. And now we move on to the main event, a special presentation from one of the architects of this monthly virtual experience, Mr. Gabe Hamda.
Good evening.
Why, hello there, Gabe. How are you today?
Very good. Jodi, what a presentation. You know, I think your voice speaks louder than your intent. So I'm impressed by your acts and appreciate your contribution.
Why, thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. And so, yes, today's special webinar features 2 proven strategies from ICATT's Virtual Career Academy's curated list of 6 employability enhancement strategies, which you now see on your screen. Now, do you want to learn about 2 of these proven strategies for securing your dream job and for securing promotions? Well, the 2 career strategies that you'll hear about in this session, 2 that give you the advantage as you advance in your career, are informational interviews and professional portfolios. And our guest speaker, as you've already heard, is our very own Gabe Hamda. Gabe Hamda is president and CEO of ICATT Professional Services and career ambassador of Community Career Promoter. As one of the architects of employability enhancement programs, Gabe's life mission is to be a cheerleader for the career advancement of the people around him. He believes in you and wants to hear the career wisdom that you already possess. And we believe that your engagement is the foundation of true learning. So you will have the opportunity to share your own career wisdom. What do you think about that, Gabe?
What I think is, I think maybe at the core of my belief is to believe in myself and believe in the people around me. So in that spirit, whenever I'm given an opportunity to speak, primarily I'm the one learning from the people around me. So I may say more words, but some of the maybe items you chat or anything you say really feeds me. So for that reason, I just want to say whatever is on your mind, if you can share, what actions you took that led to your success, I'd love to hear. So that's kind of my upfront gift, my upfront compensation to proceed. So look forward to hearing your insights because there is no right or wrong answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, we certainly believe that each and every one of us is uniquely equipped with insights and wisdom to take the right actions for career advancement. And it's really just a matter of allowing each of us the opportunity to allow that inner wisdom to play itself out so that we can all listen to your wisdom and implement it. So at this time, we're going to give our guests the opportunity to do just that, to share that inner wisdom so that we all can hear what it is that they've learned in their career journey. And so that we can take those notes, take those takeaways and implement them in our own career journeys. So at this time, we invite you, our guests that are tuning in live. You have the best seat in the house, and we want to hear from you. We want to give you the opportunity to work as a group in the chat, the best place to be when it comes to this webinar, to brainstorm this question. What actions and strategies have you used to enhance your employability and contribute to your career success. So in other words, please go ahead and share in the chat. Career actions that I took, you could finish this phrase, finish this sentence. Career actions that I took that contributed to my success are, and then you fill in the blank. So we'll just take the next few minutes, the next few moments to give you some time, give you the opportunity to answer and complete that statement. Again, what actions, think about what strategies you have used to enhance your employability and contribute to your career success. So you're going to complete the statement in the chat, in the comments. Career actions that I took that contributed to my success are.
You know, Jodianne said differently. What worked for you? You know, one day you may have smiled a lot, and a lot of people may have smiled back, and that may have contributed to your success. Another day, you may have done a lot of research on the audience or the people you are talking to, and you may have succeeded. So it's kind of like sharing what worked for you. By saying that, there is no right or wrong. It's what worked for you.
So just to answer your question, I'm going to go ahead and lead by example. I know for me personally, some things that have helped me to advance my career is building strong relationships within the organization that I'm working for or partnering with, is building those really strong relationships and always making a point of adding value and solving problems. A former mentor of mine once said that your compensation is in direct correlation with the size of the problem that you solve. And so if you solve a bigger problem, you get paid bigger bucks. So always just looking for opportunities, ways, even some that others may not have considered, or even that others may have shied away from or scared to touch. Being willing to step out with potential solutions and not being afraid of being wrong, not being afraid of being corrected, just putting the ideas out there in the spirit of problem solving and adding value. Now, from our chat, our illustrious guests, Helena has shared that something that has worked for her to advance her career, or a couple of things actually she shared, is not holding up her insights and always looking forward to learning. That is fantastic, Helena. Yes, I am such a believer in the notion of always being in the role of the student, always looking forward to learning. There's so much room for expansion and growth when you take on that perspective, looking for opportunities to learn. I actually personally like to say, you don't lose when you learn. People talk in terms of wins and losses. I talk in terms of wins and lessons because I don't lose when I learn. So I'm right there with you, Helena. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So, Gabe, from your approach to enhancing employability, this is something that you're particularly passionate about and a great way that you serve. We know that two key strategies that you often promote are informational interviews and professional portfolios. That those two things are great contributors to career success. So Gabe, go ahead and tell us, what is an informational interview? How does someone go about portfolio development? What are these things? And what are some real life examples about, how we go about creating or executing these things? We'd love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Before I share, maybe speak about the two strategies I want to talk about, I want permission maybe to talk about Jodianne for a few minutes. I've worked with Jodianne for the last 7 months as a moderator And the work we all watched her do tonight or today is a volunteer role, okay? And one thing I noticed about Jodianne is, this is a volunteer role for which she doesn't get compensated. But I've noticed she takes this so seriously. And I'm so impressed. So whenever people, ask me about Jodianne, I'm telling them wonderful things. And I tell them she takes the smallest assignment so seriously and does it so well that, I'm her walking and talking, I guess, testament to her work. So I just want to say that. And sometimes you may not see your own strength, but I happen to have worked with Jodianne and to just see how seriously she takes the smallest assignment. And I know if she is doing something even more important, she will do it even better. So just want to share that testimony. Now, having said that, let me kind of take you back to what informational interviewing and professional portfolio are. Now, in a nutshell, I want to begin maybe with an example. Once upon a time, I was a graduate student at Florida State University. When I was a graduate student at Florida State University, I was on a student visa. It meant I could not hold a job. I do not have a visa permit to work in the US. Here is what I did. There were campus recruiters. There were people who came to Florida State to recruit people with my background. My background and my degree, I was working on instructional design. And so they came from all the fancy big companies. And I did not need a permit to interview. So I went for every interview. And I get a job offer and I decline. Then I go for the next interview. I interview, I get a job offer, I decline. So after doing so many interviews for 1 year, when I had a permit to work in the USA, the first job, I aced it and I never looked back. So basically what I got in doing those interviews, I was not under pressure. I could not accept the jobs if they were offered. Doing them really helped me when really counted to interview for a real job. So informational interview is to, interview your friends or people in an informal setting so that you can ask questions about that organization so that you can learn. Like as Helena said, when you interview under informational interview, you can learn about the organization. You can learn about the person you are talking to. You can learn about the job opportunities. You can learn about what it requires to be hired. So the learning opportunity, the opportunity to ask questions, and also at the same time to sell yourself. So it is a very informal circumstance for you to explore the job market. So that's informational interview, and I'll be happy to go deep into it later on. Now, professional portfolio. Professional portfolio is a sample of your work. Now, let me, in my case, which I like to kind of give an example, I'm known for being optimistic. I'm known for being positive. I'm known for being, inspirational. And guess what? I have a book to show for it. So when you have a sample of work, that work speaks for yourself. So instead of you saying, I'm good, I'm this, I'm that, it is when your sample of work speaks for you. So it is to create that kind of portfolio. Let's say if you are in, QA testing, it is to show examples of QA testing report you developed. If you are a writer, let's say if you are a novelist or a writer, it doesn't have to be a book. It may just be a one-pager that shows a sample of your work. Like Jodianne, in your case, since you are, a voiceover, or your voice is your power, you have a sample of your voice on a clip. So it is all these samples of your work that speak on your behalf in your absence. So that's a little sample about informational interviewing and professional portfolios.
Those were really great examples. Thank you for that. And thank you for the wonderful compliments as well. I appreciate the appreciation, and it's a pleasure to partner with you. So yes, Gabe, just to take it a step further, we'd love to hear about your own career success story and how you've implemented some of these things along the way of your career journey. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. Now, Jordan, if I may, I always like to, maybe distract myself a little bit.
Okay.
On the earlier activities where everyone had an opportunity to speak their mind, share their thoughts, share their experiences, the one thing I want to say, I said, hey, I believe in, believing in myself, and I also believe in you. I think what I meant is to really believe your instincts, regardless of your experience. There are people who are intimidated by someone else's experience and belittle their own experiences. Guess what? What you and the person with lots of experiences have in common is that you have instincts. Your instincts are never, ever, never wrong, even if you have very limited experience. So I would just say, if you forget anything I say today, is to believe your instincts, regardless of your experience, regardless of your education level, regardless of anything you see out there. Believe in your instincts, and your instincts never go wrong. Just want to leave you that message. Jodianne?
Thank you for that, Gabe. That was fantastic. No, that was really, really great. A really great word of encouragement. You're absolutely right. Sometimes we do discount our own instincts, our own, that gut feeling, that wisdom from within. And so, that's a really great reminder to not undervalue the value that you already have within you. So thank you for that. So yeah, let's get into your success story. We'd love to hear, you've already shared a really great career tip for those who are tuning in. But what would you say are some of the best, most insightful career tips that you received from others over the course of your career?
So I think one is, I'll tell you what, people don't forget names. So I'm going to throw names at you. So there is one name I want to just kind of leave out there is Professor Stakinas. So Professor Stakinas was one of my professors when I was in grad school. And it so happened, I was a junior consultant working with my professors with one of a local agencies. And so one day, Professor Stakinas called me in a room, private room, not in front of my classmates. Mm-hmm. And he said, Gabe, you are uninvited, meaning you are fired from this project.
Oh, wow.
Well, quite frankly, I'm a very strange bird, Jodi. Okay. That kind of feedback, it doesn't damage me. It doesn't break me. It just makes me stronger. That is the best thing that ever happened to me. Well, those of you who have, boys as children, boys as, husband, or boy as a brother, whatever it is, I have to say I'm one of the men who just has a hard time reading my environment. So I was working with this client, and I was now reading, their body language. I was now reading the impact of my words. So I was just like, being a graduate student, I was just trying to prove myself and ask all kinds of questions. And I stepped on some toes. So I think because of that, I tend to maybe pay attention to the people I'm talking to. I'm still learning. That's one lesson that really did a lot of good for me. So I don't know whether it's something I learned the hard way, but I would say that is still the best career lesson in my entire life. I may exaggerate, but I think there is truth in it.
Okay. So what would you say, in addition to the wisdom that you received from these career tips, what are some career lessons that you may have learned the hard way?
I would say, again, let me give you a name.
Okay.
Professor Stekinas is Florida State University, and we were working with the Florida Department of Education. I even remember the building we were in. I remember the room we were in. And I remember, there were people with, more education, more experience. And I was just kind of running my mouth and without really paying attention to the audience. But anyways, maybe another one is I used to work at a company little known company called American Express. And
just a small startup,
Yeah, small company. So I have a colleague, his name is Kyle, Kyle. I remember him vividly. So I would say, I used to kind of like call everybody wrong. I know the answers and I was smart and everybody's wrong. So Kyle one day said, you know what, Gabe, I think you'll do very well if occasionally you just agree with what other people say instead of calling them wrong. So I think that was also, maybe I think that shifted, that I need to find what I have in common with people before I call them wrong. So, Jordan, when you and I work together, I think one thing I noticed about you is sometimes even if what I say to you makes no sense, you just said, you know what, let's do it, right? So I think when you agree, there's more to be gained than when you do the smallest thing on yourself and on others. I would just say it's easy to pick that up with others, but I'm also saying even with yourself, like maybe what you did yesterday, today you may not agree. Don't beat up on yourself. Kind of easy. Say, you know what? Yesterday was yesterday. I ate that burger. Maybe I ate a little more than I should. Don't beat up on yourself. It's okay. So I think that's one thing. Just kind of look for a way to agree with self and others more readily than being critical.
That's really great advice. And it's a great perspective. So speaking of perspective, when you look back at your career journey, what would you say, because they say hindsight is 20/20, what would you say are some of the major stages, major milestones of your personal career journey?
So, Jordan, a lot of people, when you ask them, they start from the beginning. They say, hey, when I was a kindergarten, when I was
right, all the way back.
I begin with now. Let me tell you, the stage I'm now in, I would say, I have so much fun because I feel like, I'm connected with my purpose. Okay. So I think I would say where I'm now is whatever I do now is connected with the purpose I'm here on earth. And so I would say this is more like I'm in the fulfillment phase. And I may have spoken to quite a few of the attendees here. And to me, just talking to every one of them has been a joy because what they are looking for is consistent with my purpose in life. My purpose in life is to see other people blossom in their career. I'm here to help others. And I think the more I know that, the more fulfilled I am. So I'm in the, knowing your purpose phase. Now, I think that, prior to that, there was a time when I found a boss who believed in me. And believe it or not, his name is Charles. So I can always like to kind of give, names. Charles was my boss. And there's a time when I was somewhat timid. I would not confront people. He said, you know what, Gabe? Step on some toes. Make some people upset. Come back fighting. Something like that. So I think, literally, I'd go out in a large hierarchical organization. I'll kind of hit people, whatever, not physically, but, in conflict and people who are untouchable, I come back and you just smile at me. So the point is, when someone believes in you, I think he was up to something. He just believed in me. And so I felt like, I was at a time when I was really myself. So, if this conflicts with everything I say, so be it. But I would say when someone believes in you, nothing you do is bad or wrong. It goes long ways. So there was, I think, that moment when, I found a boss that believed in me. So that's kind of maybe the stage or the phase before the phase I'm in. Now, the early stage of my career was, I call it the phase of, I was at war with everybody. My bosses were wrong, my colleagues were wrong, nobody knew nothing. I was in conflict with the whole world. So it's just like, I remember one time I had a boss, her name is Diane, and her boss's name is Vicky. So I'd go to Vicky over Diane's head and say, this is what Diane has done to me. So I was in a habit of going over my boss's head. Jodi, I think, go. So I was
Right.
just literally at war with everyone.
Wow.
So those are the three phases I remember. And I just, when I think of, like the first phase, it really hurts. And when I think of the phase where I am now is where I need to be. So I'm just so, so grateful.
Yes, and that has to be a great feeling, being in a place where you know that you're in the right place. That has to feel incredibly rewarding.
Yes. And now, what that means, Jodi, it doesn't mean it's like a cakewalk every day, right? I mean, there are struggles, more challenging situations, but at the end of the day, the purpose behind is you are making a difference, whether that difference is in one person, there is some level of fulfillment. So it's not challenge free, but it's just knowing the trajectory of your career is that, there is a difference. And I feel like this is in line with what I'm here on earth for.
That's awesome. That is so wonderful, Gabe. So another question for you, you're in the right place, right time, right now. But there was probably a time in your past where that wasn't the case. So what advice would you give to your younger self in light of what you know now about your career?
I would say believe your instincts. So there was a time when I had very limited experience, and the more people I spoke with, the more confused I got. It's not the answer I'm looking for. So I would say, believe your instincts. Whenever people say believe in yourself, what it really means is to believe in your instincts. Your instincts, even as a little child, are right on the money. I don't know, Jodi, if this is kind of, everyone who knows me has been using that line for a big laugh.
Yes.
I have a goddaughter who is 7. She just turned 8. Today is kind of Thursday. Yeah, on Tuesday she turned 8. Okay.
Wow.
So I just want everyone to know I'm a crybaby. I watch movies, and if I see kindness, I'm crying. Tears come down. So little Hannah, who is goddaughter, she comes to stay with us on weekends. So one weekend she said, "Wait a minute, Gabe. This is just a movie." So we're watching a movie together, and I'll cry at the end because there is some element of kindness. And then she would say, so she was kind of like, she didn't understand what I was crying about. So next weekend when I picked her up, on the way here, I said, "Hey, together she's a neighbor, by the way. She's a neighbor goddaughter." So we were walking home, and by the way, hey, if this is driving more people toward a show, like a YouTube show called Darman, so be it. Darman, okay. So I said, "Oh, we're gonna watch Darman together." And so, Gabe, I'm not gonna watch, that YouTube with you if you're gonna cry. So I think she said something like, "Gabe, we gotta work, we have to work on those emotions." I mean, like a 7-year-old telling me we gotta work on those emotions. So everyone uses that line since they heard. So what's in this little 7-year-old is the instinct That is so wise. So I'm saying the instinct in you is never wrong. So that would be the lecture I give myself. So if I'm saying that to you 5 times, 7 times, 10 times, I'm telling myself to trust my instincts.
That's wonderful. Trust those instincts. Trust those instincts. That's so great. So in trusting your instincts, what sorts of actions did you take that led to or contributed to your advancements, your promotions, those pay raises, really your success?
Yes. So I think that maybe, just maybe in terms of promotion is to focus, while believing in my instincts. I think maybe the few times I have been promoted is when I'm focused on the mission at hand. Let's say I used to work for a healthcare organization. So we were in the business of keeping people healthy. So when who is just one guy with very limited authority, think, listen, we are about keeping people healthy. So kind of when I think whenever I was able to focus on the mission at hand, as opposed to, whenever I think of myself, I feel scared. What if I say this and maybe I'm wrong? What if I'll get fired? What if so-and-so doesn't like it? But I think when I focus on the mission, a few times I did that, it led to a promotional opportunity. Even today, focusing on the mission at hand is something that has always brought clarity and removed fear. So whenever I'm afraid, I don't like it. I just make more mistakes. It's like, it's just so debilitating feeling. So when I have clarity about the mission of, the organization or the person's purpose, it creates clarity. It gives me more confidence. It kind of aligns me with people. So I think maybe, aside from believing your instincts, if you channel those instincts toward the mission, let's say you are interviewing with, Microsoft, Microsoft is not going to be upset if I mention their name. Let's say you want to work for Microsoft. Okay. So you may think, oh my goodness, this person I'm talking to works for Microsoft and they are the biggest company on earth and they have clients on every face of the planet. I mean, it can be scary. You know what? I would just kind of know what are they about. And when you focus on that, the mission of that organization, I think you're going to do a very, very good in the interview. So I would just say, focus on the mission. Or you may want to work for the US government. What's the mission of the US government? Maybe you want to work for the state of Georgia. What's the mission of the state of Georgia? Just kind of try to see the mission statement, the vision, or a faith-based. So I think that alignment of purpose, I think, puts you in a better light.
Yes. I certainly agree. That's great. And when you talk about alignment, when it comes to advancement and promotions, would you say that making that particular quality a priority was what led you to secure those jobs in the first place, or were there other actions that you took to secure jobs? What would you say that you did right to secure the jobs where you were successful in the first place?
Got it. Jodi, please you keep an eye on me. So if I sound like I'm, shouting at someone or telling someone to do, I think I feel like I'm drifting when I'm just talking about myself. So
you're fine.
So I think, whenever I'm really in touch with myself, so I'm kind of like my instincts, I'm aware of the instincts in me. It begins there. And then, with that organization, I'm focused on what they are about. It kind of gets me to that promotional stage. Now, I think maybe that first job, you remember, the experience at Florida State, all those interviews, get a job offer and decline. So I think that kind of what that is about is to clearly articulate what that organization is about and clearly articulate what you are about and make the connection. I would say that communication and that clarity it has to be the first door opener for me. To this day, Jodian, when you are in business, you are job searching every day, right? Professionistas are, when you are employed, you can be in a job for 20 years, 20 months, whatever the length is. But if you are in business, every day you are proving yourself. So I would say, I think the way you present yourself, that interview, whether it is in writing or whether it is in person, your ability to communicate has always been the door opener to get the first, opportunity. And then to stay in is the adding the value. For example, Jodian, you can never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever be fired from the volunteer work of being career promoter, moderator. You can never be fired. You know why? Because you really get the purpose for which career webinars stand for. You also moderate our multi-discipline webinar for ICATT. You can never, ever, never, ever be fired from that. You know why? You really understand and connect with the purpose. So I think connecting with the purpose and continuing to add value to the mission of that organization keeps you in the job. You can never be fired. But first, I think that interview to communicate, to articulate how your skills connect with advancing their mission is a door opener. So if I sound like a missionary, I am about career. So,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And that's why Community Career Promoter is able to do the amazing work that it does in the community.
Yes. And
so yes.
If I, talking of Community Career Promoter, for those who are tuning in live or maybe, watching the YouTube, Community Career Promoter is what it is because of, Tiffany, who shows up every time we do this as a host. And, Jodianne, who shows up and, just gives out this amazing voice to what we do. And I have to say, I'm part of that. And there are many other, countless people who show up. There are many people who are scared to come and talk here, but there are people who just have the nerve to come and share their success stories. So it is a contribution of all these amazing people that makes it a success.
Yes. So true. So very true. So, even just referring back to how we opened this webinar, how we started it, about the importance of and just how powerful informational interviews and professional portfolios can be. Why would you say that these two things, the informational interviews, professional portfolios, why are they the most important employability strategies?
Jodianne, thank you for asking that question. So I think in early on, there is I'm trying to look at the list of, employability enhancement activities. The Virtual Career Academy, through experience of working with different people, have identified these two. The information hour interview is so essential because you have all the skills in the world. And when you are nervous, you don't communicate all that you have inside you. When you are nervous, you cannot express all that you understand the mission. Let's say you wanna work for NASA. I mean, I don't know if a living being that doesn't know NASA. You know a whole lot more than that plant. You know a whole lot more than that cat, and you know a whole lot more than that child. So when you are nervous, none of these things happen. So information hour interview really gives you the confidence to make your case and land that job. So it is to have, that practice, okay? And also, I think Helena early on shared her superpower is learning, right? learning. So when you do informational interview, you know so much about that organization. The more you know about that organization, guess what? When you know more about that organization than the people interviewing you, you can ace it every time. So the ability to ask many questions, the ability to learn, the ability to share your success stories, I think is going to give you an advantage. And also the portfolio is about credibility. I'll tell you, 5 months ago, we hired an individual. I made a hiring decision. The hiring decision was not based on interview. I never knew her. There are people who say, you got to know someone to get a job. That's just a myth. Let me tell you, that's not true. Employers know what they are looking for. And so, this person that we hired, I looked at her portfolio. I did not even meet her. I didn't know what she was like. I looked at her portfolio. I said, let's hire her. So your absence speaks. You may be, 3 a.m. you are asleep really well, right? Jodi, and I know you are asleep at 3 a.m. Whether you are in LA or Washington, DC, you are asleep 3 a.m. Everybody sleeps, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Employer may be looking at your portfolio, not your social media profile. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you may have created a blueprint. You may have a YouTube video that, where you are talking about, let's say, you may be into cybersecurity and, maybe you did this video on cyber hygiene, how you keep your system free from the bad guys, or whatever your background is. Or you may be the greatest mathematician, and maybe you did this video about the application of mathematics in everyday life. Whatever you've done, and someone sees that at 3 a.m. when you are dead asleep, next day you're going to get a call. Someone is going to virtually knock your door, say, hey, would you consider come working for me? So those things I can tell you, they can, if there are 100 people in your profession, you're going to be top 10, top 5, top 1 to be selected, because portfolios give you the credibility, and the informational interview gives you the confidence to land that job, especially in this competitive environment. That's why, ICATT Professional Services and this virtual career academy we are launching. Everyone else, every community college, every training organization is going to provide those occupational training that everyone else does. But our differentiator is we make sure with the time those job seekers spend with us, we're going to make sure they master, they have a nicely done portfolio, and they have countless informational interviews to ace the job they are looking for.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a solid strategy for advancement. So true. So thank you for sharing that, for those who may not be familiar with informational interviews, those who've never been advised to create a professional portfolio, they can now see the why behind doing these things and see, the greater possibilities that they can create for themselves in their own careers by implementing these strategies. So, any final remarks, Gabe? Any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our live audience and those who may be watching the replay?
Yes. Jodian, you are practicing using your instincts, just by, I want to share one last item, and then you just gave me that opportunity. Just like when you use your instinct, you are connecting with what's out there. Now, yes. With that, my closing remark is this. For those who are in our live audience, or people who are watching this maybe 9 months after this, YouTube is recorded, I want you to reach out to ICATT, ICATT.net, and I want you to reach out to us. Let's say you may be in Shanghai. I don't care if you are in Moscow. You may be in Turkey. You may be in Saudi Arabia. You may be in Kansas. You may be in Atlanta, Georgia. You may be in Washington, DC. And ICATT is interested in working with you to give you the developing your portfolio and also to give you kind of more opportunities for informational interview. So these are practices that we do only for our clients, but anyone, whoever is kind of a member of the global community who is interested can reach out to us, and would be delighted to give you an opportunity. Just kind of maybe one example, like a few months ago, we were helping two information technology professionals, and Ramya, who is not here today, but who everyone hopefully knows, was leading an effort of portfolio development group coaching. So we finished that, and those candidates we're working with have secured jobs now. And anyone, so we accept people who are interested in building their career portfolio. So we put them in a group and put them on a weekly coaching so that they can present their portfolio and give them feedback and continue to fine tune. So that opportunity is available to anyone who is a member of the global human community. So I want to invite everyone to reach out to us and see what we can do for you.
And there you go. What a wonderful offer.
Yes.
So for those who are tuning in live again, or you are watching the replay, here's your opportunity to advance your career. We have an offer on the table. And so if you feel as though, this is something that you're looking to do, a priority for you, go ahead and reach out to our guest, and the co-architect of Community Career Promoter, Mr. Gabe Hamda, for more details. Gabe, how can they what's the best way to get in contact?
Jodi, are you a prophetess? That's exactly what I was going to You are a living example of someone who uses her instinct. You really, in the moment, Jodi, and I have to really appreciate you and honor you. I think, Tiffany and Ephraim, who are, producing our YouTube. So this is a note to self, so that we're going to include contact information with our YouTube video that goes out, so that people contacts us. So we're gonna, and also Jodi, since you are helping edit, all these videos, maybe in some kind of future kind of format. So we're gonna include contact information so that people can stay in touch, come to one of these events or participate in a career enhancement activity. So definitely we'll get it done.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Gabe. Thank you so much. Just for sharing your wisdom from your instincts and your path to success in your career. And that concludes this edition of the Community Career Promoter Career Success Story webinar. So we invite you, our wonderful guests, to join us again next month on September 16th for part 2. Another special presentation from Gabe Hamda, who will share even more proven strategies for enhancing your employability to advance your career. And we want to thank you once again, Gabe, for sharing from your wealth of wisdom, your wealth of knowledge. And we want to also thank you, our guests, those who have joined us, for joining us for this webinar. And we look forward to having you as our guest for the next one. So take care, and we look forward to serving you in the future.